Mission Control. We pause at this moment in our countdown to remember and honor the lives of each of the participants on the Celestis Memorial Space Flight. Their presence on this flight signifies a commitment to the opening of the space frontier shared by all of us. We wish the friends and families present today and all those who are with us in spirit all over the world Godspeed, good luck, and our thanks for allowing us to share this very personal time with you today. Elsie out. 5 vehicles armed. 3, 2, 1, fire. Missile away.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Celestis mission update. I am Marc B. Lee, and I'm your ambassador for Celestis, or I'm actually Celestis' ambassador. I guess it goes both ways. There are a lot of things to talk about today, and we're just going to jump right into it. So without any further ado, I'll go ahead and introduce our CEO, Mr. Charles Chafer. Hi, Charles.
Hey, Mark. How are you doing?
I am doing excellent, sir. So obviously there's going to be a lot of questions and a lot of answers. And before we go forward with that, remember, guys, if you're watching us, you have any questions, and no question is a dumb question. If you have any questions whatsoever, go ahead and relay it on our chat board here. You're obviously in the chat room. Go ahead and type it. And after Charles gives you the mission updates of all of our upcoming missions, he'll go into answering all of those questions. So feel free and ask us anything. If you think that your question has not been answered, we try to go back through all of our questions here to try to catch up. If we did not, we have our team here who will answer via the chat room. They're in here as well. So if you don't see answers or questions or anything come up on screen, just make sure you're in the chat room and you'll see that. So without any further ado, like I said, it's a very, very important mission update, and we're always happy to hear all the latest and greatest from Charles to keep everyone informed. So remember, just go ahead and ask your questions when you're ready. Charles, all yours, my friend.
Hey, how about this twice in March? We've been able to gather together, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
To be able to do this, and the reason that we're doing it twice is that we're coming into a really, at least from a schedule perspective, unprecedented time for Celestis, where beginning in the early April, we're going to have a mission every 2 weeks through mid-May. So that's an exciting time for us. I know there's a lot of updates that I want to get out, and I'm sure that I won't cover everything. So we'll take questions here periodically as I'm doing this. But I wanted to begin with the Excelsior Flight. That's our Earth orbital mission that's flying out of Vandenberg, California, and it's now scheduled for April 8th at 11:44 p.m. Pacific time. I say that slowly and carefully because I have to start off the evening by telling you all that we stubbed our toe. We sent out the most recent email update on the schedule, had the wrong launch date on it. Now, that's kind of something we've never done in nearly 30 years of history, but there's a first time for everything. So we are not launching on Easter, which is the 9th. We are launching on the 8th. And any of you who had registered to attend these launches received an email update on that subject from us today. And that one is on us. That's not the range or SpaceX or anybody changing the launch. That's we blew it, and we're sorry. And if it creates difficulties, talk to us about it. What we've tried to do is schedule everything, is to move things a little later in the day on launch day. So basically, if your travel plans had you arriving on the 8th, anytime up till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you won't miss anything. If your flight schedule brings you to where you can't join us for the memorial service, please get in touch with us, and we'll do a rebate on the package that you bought. So that's the big news, is that, and let me go through the little schedule we have for Excelsior, because that's probably on a lot of people's minds. So as the little thing on the screen said, we'll start registration on the 7th at the Embassy Suites in Lompoc around 4 o'clock. Then on the 8th, we will, which is launch day, that's T0 and Space Talk, we'll reopen the registration and check-in at Embassy at 10 a.m. on the 8th. At 3:15 p.m. on the 8th, the buses will board at the Embassy Suites to take us to the Babcock Winery for the memorial service, pre-launch briefing, and reception. So 3:15, the buses will board. We'll get to Babcock, and we'll begin the memorial service at 4 p.m. We'll do a pre-launch briefing with the mission manager from spaceflight, and at 6 p.m. we'll then do a reception at 6:30, and the buses will take you back to the Embassy Suites at 8 p.m. You then have a couple of hours to kill before 10:30 p.m. boarding the buses at Embassy Suites for the launch viewing site, and nominally the launch is scheduled for 11:44, and we'll come back probably roughly about a half an hour after the launch occurs. Of course, all the launch is subject to the countdown, but that's the schedule. All of this stuff you can find on the event.celestis.com page. Click on Excelsior, you'll see the agenda. I think we have it updated. All in all, we have, I can't remember the exact number, but I know we have about at least 120 guests. So it'll be a nice event for everybody. Okay, let's pause at Excelsior here, and I see we have some questions. Will there be another round of early bird pricing if Enterprise launch slips from May to June? I don't know. I'm not counting on Enterprise slipping from May to June. So I don't think we made that decision. Hey, James, we're welcome to the family. Let's see, pre-launch activities for Enterprise. Well, I'll get to Enterprise in a minute, but yes, we have not only do we have a professional videographer, we're also being followed around by someone who's doing a documentary on us, and so we'll have a number of sources of video for Enterprise. Let's see. Can I drive to Babcock Winery? Yes, you can. And we'll be happy to give you directions. It's not far out of Lompoc. Will all of the Excelsior items be available to see and order on site? Not all of them. Like there's some, so not all of them, but certificates, mission patches, pins, all of those things will be available for viewing and ordering on the site there at the headquarters. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask here, and it's nothing like trying to get 5 missions done. Okay.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Look like you hit all of the Excelsior questions so far. Nothing
Okay,
else.
Mark, I'm going to let you referee questions from here on out.
Okay, not a
And
problem at all.
so you just decide when to interrupt and what to ask and in what order, and I'll play the answer. Or that may
Yes, sir.
make things move a little smoother, and they'll get to hear 2 voices. Here comes some more.
I don't see. Well, here's a general one, and it's I think this one is generic, and it's Amy says here, if I pre-order, who is the beneficiary on the certificate? That's a general one for all flights, I'm assuming.
I don't understand the question.
Yeah, it says literally, well, let me put it up on screen here. And it says, if I pre-order, who is the beneficiary on certificates?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe one of our staff can go ahead and answer that and put it in the chat.
It may be a pre-need question. I don't know. I'm not sure I understand, but typically the beneficiary on the certificate is whoever is flying on that mission in general.
Right. We'll get to the enterprise question. I see Gerald has been posting a lot, mainly focusing on photos. So we'll try to cover those when we get to that point, Gerald. Yeah, I think we're good.
She says the form asks for the beneficiary. So yeah, it's whoever is flying. We call them participant.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, let me.
I think we're good to move on.
Did we get all the Excelsior questions?
Yes. I see nothing else as I scroll concerning Excelsior. Just to recap a bit here, guys, for 3:15 on the 8th, buses will board.
Here's one.
It must have just came in, right?
Well, yeah, but it's referencing one I saw earlier about link to Excelsior launch for online
viewers. Yes.
Yeah, we'll post those probably about a week in advance. And when I say post them, they're on our website. They'll be on all our social platforms, and they'll most importantly be on the page I referred to y'all earlier, which is events.celestis.com, and then choose Excelsior, and it'll be prominently posted there. But I can tell you that the launch link will be to SpaceX. SpaceX exclusively webcasts all their launches. So the launch link will be to SpaceX. The other link that you'll see is to the memorial service, which will get posted maybe an hour to 2 hours after the memorial service is completed.
Okay. Lawanda, this is a generic question, even though she specifies a specific flight. Basically, if we can't make it to all of the insert flight name activities, can we just go to the launch only?
Well, there's the ability for up to 1 million spectators to go to that launch throughout the Florida coast. So we'll be happy to provide our best guess on where the best place to view the launch for. If you don't want to join the activities, there's not a way you can just do the launch part of the activities. Maybe that's the question. But there's just zillions of places to watch the launch of Vulcan from.
Right. Tranquility, she was specifically asking about, but I thought this was a question generic to probably all out flights.
Well, the only place I can't think of places where there's public viewing is Spaceport America. You got to go and Spaceport America charges for each person that we bring on to Spaceport America. So there's the reason there are charges to attend is that other people charge us for us to bring you there. So but yeah, in general, there's always a public viewing opportunity. Ours are a little bit more curated. We make sure there's always facilities. We try to get near an air-conditioned site if we can. We make sure that there's a live stream there for our families. So there's a lot of reasons to want to be part of our mission, but there are always ways, with the exception, as I say, of Spaceport America, of viewing the launches. Let's see.
All right. I think the only one I love this question because we try to talk about it during every mission briefing, but it's nice to have a reminder that we actually have this capability. And Brandy asked, do you have to purchase the satellite tracker to be able to track the capsules after they are in orbit?
No, you don't. If you go to our website and put right on the home page, it's track satellites or something like that. You click on that, you can track all the spacecraft that we currently have in orbit, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. I'm sorry, I have so many.
Yeah, Valentina asked a good question here.
But
said,
let me just say
go ahead.
that the reason we offer the tracker is that it's a you don't have to remember to go to the website and look when mom's going overhead. The tracker will tell you when that's happening from your location. So the tracker allows us to geolocate to you when your spacecraft is going overhead. The website just shows where the spacecraft is. So that's the difference. So no, you can track the capsules on the website. If you want if you want to know when your spacecraft is overhead, that's the purpose of the Celestis above hardware.
Okay, and of course, if anybody, answering Terry's question here, if anybody is interested in getting one of our satellite trackers, there is where you can go to the site to look for that one. All right, we haven't moved on to Enterprise yet, but there is some question.
Well, let me just do the Enterprise. There's some, but there's somebody wants to know public areas to watch.
Yes, public areas in Vandenberg. Yes,
I believe it's called Prospect Park in Lompoc is where a lot of people watch. That part of the world's a lot different from KSC, where, as I explained last time, in the KSC, you can just always go on the beach and watch the launch. At Vandenberg, it's a little bit more difficult because of the geography of California and the coastline, and there's just not a lot of public viewing there. In any event, I believe it's called Prospect Park. So I wanted to go talk a little bit about Enterprise, but there are a lot. I want to keep up with all the questions too. Yeah, but let me talk about the Enterprise flight and the Tranquility flight, both scheduled for launch on the CERT-1 mission of the ULA Vulcan Centaur rocket. First mission of Vulcan Centaur. We have 2 missions on that flight. The primary payload for that flight is the Astrobotic Peregrine lunar lander, which will be our second Luna service. We have believe 62 flight capsules of DNA, ashes, and I believe one set of data on that lander. And so that's the first mission. So Vulcan will go to orbit, then Centaur will fire, take it to the moon, drop off Peregrine, then Centaur fires again, and the Voyager mission happens. And that's a 300 million kilometer permanent heliocentric deep space mission. Schedule is May 4th. As I understand it, the window is May 4th through May 8th. That window is dictated by orbital mechanics and when you can launch and intercept the moon and when you can't. So we are advising everyone that comes. First, we always advise, and we are often listened to, but not always listened to. We always advise, do not buy unchangeable, non-refundable tickets anytime, because you might end up not being able to use those tickets. So in this case, we're advising people to be flexible in their travel to accommodate the entire window if you want to be sure you see the launch. So that would be sort of book May 4 through 8 in Florida. We're expecting, because we have two missions, because it's our first Voyager mission, and because of the folks on board both missions, we're expecting very large crowd of guests for this. So if you've and some of the venues may fill up. So the earlier you make your decision, knowing that the package is refundable right up to 2 weeks before the May 4th launch date, you may want to do that. If you go to events.celestis.com, and depending upon which flight you're interested in, Tranquility or Enterprise, you can find out the link to the headquarters hotel where all of our events will be, which is the Radisson Resort at the port in Cape Canaveral. The schedule is 3 days, L-2, which is May 2nd, is afternoon registration there at the Radisson. In the evening, we're having a welcome dinner with a very special set of guests. Rod Roddenberry, who is Gene and Majel Roddenberry's son, Wendy Doohan, who is Jimmy Doohan's widow, and another guest that we'll announce soon. We'll sit in on a little bit of a panel to tell us the stories of how they got there, why this is meaningful to them, and the role of Star Trek both in Celestis and in society. So it should be a really interesting program associated with the dinner. I know I'm looking forward to it. Day 2 is going to be in the morning, opportunities for tours, Kennedy Space Center. In the afternoon, our memorial service, reception and pre-launch briefing. I have a very special guest speaker for that event. We have Apollo 13 astronaut Fred Hayes and Space Shuttle astronaut Fred Hayes. I really wanted an Apollo astronaut to come and talk to us on the eve of our Tranquility mission, and we're really fortunate that we have Fred Hayes there to talk to us from his perspective. He saw most everything, never got down on the ground, but got got to see the lunar surface, I think it can share sort of what that journey was like and what the participants on board might be vicariously going through. And then, of course, the next day we'll be dispersing to our launch viewing areas to see Vulcan Centaur fly, and that'll be an amazing mission. It's a very large rocket. There'll be a lot of people there, and we'll be doing our two most challenging missions yet. So we are looking forward to that. So, Mark, let me get a gulp of water here and throw some more questions at me here.
All right, while you drink, I'll bug in your ear here. Let's see. Do they have the time of day for the Enterprise launch and for the Celestis events? And yeah, that's one.
So I do.
Okay.
I have not been approved yet to release that time of day. We work very closely with our providers, and they have a variety of things that they like to be the people to announce, one of which is time of day for the launch. So I am aware of it, but I can't, unfortunately, cannot share it today. But the other events are all shown, again, in the agenda at events.celestis.com. As much as we know them, we're still quite a ways out by my reckoning, and so we retain the right to be a little bit flexible as opportunities arise for us.
Yeah, and like our staff had already mentioned, large attendance, because this is a very, very important launch for a number of reasons. I can't call them all out, but not only the VIPs that we have on board, but the fact that it's kind of making two stops, which I don't know if we've ever, since the Apollo missions, have we ever had a rocket do anything like that. Is that right, Charles?
Ask me that again.
Have we ever had a mission make two stops?
No, we've never. No.
Yeah. Not us personally, but did you remember?
We've never had two missions on a launcher before.
Sure. Let's see, another question for the same thing, that we can't release the time of launch as of yet. I think here's
Link
one.
to the packages would be events.celestis.com, and then click Enterprise or /Enterprise.
I'm going to ask you this. Yeah. I'm going to ask you this very interesting question. We have a friend here that's someone who has a lot of interesting questions, but I want to pull this one out. Basically, he says not to sound self-serving, but will the DNA on the Enterprise be suitable for a Guinness Book of World Records for the farthest outpost of human genomes in the history of mankind?
Sir, yeah, it will. Yeah, sure will.
Yeah, I would think so too. It's a one of a kind kind of thing that we're doing here. So yeah. Also, where can I see photos of the orbital vehicle? I don't think we've had that question before.
Well,
we talk about the lander?
I understand. If you're wanting the launch vehicle,
right.
It's a Falcon 9. If you're wanting the launch vehicle that's putting our spacecraft in orbit, it's a Falcon 9. If you want to see the spacecraft that's housing the Celestis capsules, I think we're in the process of getting authorized by Spaceflight Inc., who are providing that. We're getting authorized to release those, and so you'll be able to see what we call the carrier, on our photos of it on our website soon.
Okay. Let's see. Missy asked, would the time of the launch be the same for each day of the launch window? I
No,
don't
it'll
know.
typically change a little bit each
Sure.
day. I'll give you an example. So when we went originally, Excelsior, the first launch date we ever posted for Excelsior was April 2nd, and it was 11:50 p.m. Now we're at April 8th. It's 11:44 p.m.
Right.
So you'll
Mhm.
see some variation in launch time. I
Okay.
saw a couple questions, Mark, about dress code.
Yes,
And
I saw a number of those too. I was going to get to that.
we're very casual at all of our launches. Um, for the memorial service and reception, um, we won't kick you out if you wear a t-shirt and shorts, but you'll feel probably a little bit underdressed. But it's not white tie and tails either. Again, um, it's not even as strict as business casual, but it's a nice event at a nice location celebrating loved ones who are about to make an amazing journey. So I would dress for that.
Yeah, you took it right out of my mouth because this is in fact a celebration. Our previous memorial services, we have seen everyone from suits to like you had mentioned before. It's up to you. You're not getting tossed out because we have no dress code. This is for you, so there is no format. Oh, Linda asked about handicap accessibility, which
Yeah, all of our events are and all of our transportation is handicap accessible.
right, and I can't pronounce this name, but Kialoa. Oh, that's a really lovely name. Kialoa Karen Finneran. I like that. Ask about noise protection. Is that provided or do we bring our own? Have we ever
Won't
experienced?
won't be needed.
Yep.
Won't be needed. You're not
Well,
They don't know what range safety doesn't allow you in close enough to do any concerns about noise protection. You'll know it
uh,
when it flies, don't get me wrong, but it's not something that you need noise protection from.
right. I'll just repeat this for Glenda. On our website, there will be links to all of the webcasts that you can watch, Glenda. And you're asking specifically for Excelsior, so
Yeah.
just
Uh,
stick with us.
yeah.
Uh, what you haven't touched on? There's a harmony question. I don't know if you're ready to talk about harmony yet, or you want to do it now.
We don't
Okay.
know a lot about Harmony other than the date for the launch has been selected as October 10th. And that's really all we know at this point. Vandenberg Air Force Base, obviously, and I wouldn't buy any tickets to anywhere based on that date yet. What we do is we always tell you when we're sure enough that we buy our tickets, and that's as good a indication.
Um, this is interesting. Missy is asking, what are the viewing facilities like at the History Center?
Well, I guess she means the Sands History Museum, and we've all been there for our most recent Earth orbital flight. It's a nice
Right.
facility. It's air conditioned. It's got seating. We'll have the live stream in there, but everybody goes outside on the lawn and watches the rocket take off from
Sure.
there. Um, but it they're nice facilities there. It's one of the reasons why we choose it.
Right. Folks, if you have more questions, keep going. We seem to be doing fine with the number of people online that I see. We have about 100 or so far that's been watching. Thank you for hanging in there. So if there are any other questions, go right along. We still have about 20-25 minutes left.
Oh, the flight I haven't spoken about yet, Mark, is the Aurora flight. So if I
Ah,
may jump in on Aurora very quickly.
absolutely.
Um, Aurora is our Earth Rise service that was first attempted to fly in November last. Um, and that mission had to be scrubbed due to high winds on the launch pad, COVID in the launch crew, and payload not being ready to fly. So that mission has now been rescheduled for April 21st. And so the agenda for that will be on April 20th. We're going to offer a launch pad tour. And again, unless somebody has COVID or some other reason not to, the tour takes all of us right literally onto the launch pad and allows you to get as close to a rocket as you've ever been, and to speak with the president of Up Aerospace, Jerry Larson, for a pre-launch. That'll be the afternoon of the 20th. And again, that events.celestis.com Aurora Flight gives you the full agenda for that. Launch will be, usually they try to launch it as close to dawn as they can on the 21st. And we will be there hosting people. But again, there's a whole set of information at events.celestis.com/Aurora.
Okay. Well, it seems to me that a lot of people that are satisfied with all of the great information you're providing, because there really isn't as many questions as I expected. I guess these guys trust that we know what we're doing and that we're giving out the best information. But always realize that you have to frequent our Facebook pages and our website to know anything upcoming. Put it in your daily coffee exercises in the morning to see what's new. But Missy has something here. She said, I read about a special access tour in the book. It just popped up. Special access tour in the morning of L1.
Yep.
When will what's L1?
Launch -1.
Got it. Oh, got it, girl. When will we know more about that? I knew that.
As soon as we do. We are working at real time, but I don't have anything to say yet, other than we're working it.
All right. We're working on it. We have a Tranquility question. Sandy asks, we are unable to attend the Tranquility events until 5/3. Is this possible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah. The launch is until 4.
5/4, yeah. So
Yeah,
you'll
so
be
you're
there
there
for
to,
the
yeah,
memorial
why wouldn't
service,
you?
for the Fred Hayes speech, for the reception. You'll miss the dinner the night before, but the good news is those Star Trek folks are just hanging around for the whole launch, because Rod has his mom and dad on the mission, and Wendy has her husband on the mission, so they won't be going anywhere. So come up and introduce yourself to Marc Lee, and he'll introduce you to Wendy and Rod, and you can have your own private session.
I'm expensive. Just warning you. You did mention other guests on the Enterprise flight, right? There's a question. All right.
Where did we get George's DNA?
Yeah,
it's a great story. We had a mission that we were trying to do many, many years ago that was a DNA flight. And at that time, I'm sorry, we're not using that graphic anymore.
No, that's right. I've been told. Okay.
At the time, we received a donation of lots of people's DNAs, hair samples. From that group, we've chosen to fly George Washington, Dwight Eisenhower, and JFK on the Enterprise flight. We have Arthur Clarke's DNA hair sample that's flying on Luna, and we got it directly from Sir Arthur, but the others came through And I was completely unaware of this until it arrived, and I, like anybody, had the "how do we know this is real" reaction. And let me say interesting things about hair collection. Long before autographs were used, if you met a famous person, it was not untoward at all for you to ask for a hair sample from that person. And if you, so that the hair has been collected. I think we even have, we have others. But in any event, that wasn't crazy. But what happened was a gentleman named Louis Mushrow, Mushro, and you can Google him, passed away a couple years ago, was the world's definitive authenticator of historical and celebrity hair samples. And the samples that we received come with extensive certificates of authenticity. In some cases, the hair samples came from the White House barber. In other cases, they were tracked through families and attested to by Sotheby's. All of which led me to look at it and led the world to look at it and say, yea, verily, Mr. Mushrow stamp of approval means that it's the real thing. So we got it from an anonymous donor who had acquired it from the Mushrow collection. Again, if you're interested, go online, just Google it. You'll see those samples are available on eBay these days, but read the articles about Louis Mushrow, very interesting gentleman. So that's how we got the samples that were flying on Enterprise. Okay, so there's more questions, but it's an interesting, we love the fact that we're able to do that because it, as I say in some of the releases, it's really historically important that we are on the cutting edge of moving humanity through the solar system. And you can do that symbolic. This is why a lot of people choose the Celestis service. They want that symbolic journey. And the fact that we've been able to fly the folks that we've already flown and the ones that we're getting ready to, I think creates that momentum for human expansion throughout the solar system in our own little way.
Yeah, there's one here I really got to share. Oh God. Oh, here it is. From Sue. This is very interesting. Sue says, my husband is on the Enterprise flight. And I noticed we already answered this question, but I'd like to read this anyway. My husband is on the Enterprise flight. He was a school teacher and passed the day before the school started. I'm assuming, I don't know what year that would have been. His students want to know if they will be able to watch the flight live. And of course, the answer is yes.
Yes. ULA, United Launch Alliance, will webcast the launch of Vulcan Live. And so you'll be able to go. We'll provide the link in our information, and you'll be able to just view it right there.
Right. So I hope that answered your questions, Sue. Thank you so much for that. It'd be nice to have another generation see exactly what it is we do and what's possible. So that's going to be a very nice for your students to know, or his students to know, shall I say. Some of these are repeats, such as we're going to post information everywhere. Please stay up to date to our Facebook page and to our website. That's very important for you to know, is those two locations. Those that have registered their families, you're getting emails, so you'll get information personally, but don't stop looking at our website and
make
Facebook
that
page.
plural, Mark. Make that website. So there's Celestis.com and there's events.celestis.com. Both of those are worth watching. And then on our Facebook, we have family pages for family members and loved ones who are on specific flights. So in addition to our general Celestis Facebook postings, We have the Tranquility Flight page. We have the Enterprise Flight page. We have the Excelsior Flight page, where
Right.
it's intended to be even more information, and frankly, to allow families to get to know each other and to learn about it.
Right. If you guys have not joined your specific flight page, you need to do so. You need to find it on Facebook and make sure you check in because those get updated regularly. Charles, Mr. James Bransfield mentioned that he and his daughter will be driving in an Enterprise. We live 5 hours north, 5 hours northwest here in Florida. Should we arrive on the 1st instead of the 2nd? We are
No,
doing the whole thing, everything for launch day.
and
He says,
we're looking forward to meeting you and your daughter there, but you don't need to be there before the noon on the 2nd.
right,
That's all you need.
good information. He's going to be booking his room right after this meeting. He said, okay, so, oh, great. Okay, let's see how I can do this.
Somebody asked about the Destiny flight. We won't be releasing any information about it until after the Tranquility flight launches.
Yeah, sorry about this. I'm trying to. I
Judy
hope Christina.
Judy Vanderhool wanted to know about Destiny. There's
Yes,
a
anything
question
on
about
Destiny.
Reagan on DNA on Enterprise. No, that was we don't have his DNA on the Enterprise flight.
Okay. All righty. Jay mentioned, don't you need the hair root for DNA and not just a snippet?
Oh, we're going to get into the whole mitochondrial DNA. No.
Not me.
And also, we're going to be discussing the limits of alien technology for recombining and cloning people. Let me say that that's a reasonable question. For our historical figures, we just fly the sample that we have. And there is DNA in that sample, but you cannot rebuild George Washington from that sample. Unlike our DNA service, where we actually we take a cheek swab, process the DNA at a lab in Canada, and we fly your entire genome. So you can be recombined um, if that's your goal in flying your DNA with us.
Okay. Hey, Charles, do they know where the moon? I'm sorry. Do they know where on the moon Tranquility will be landing?
Yeah, it just got changed from Lactus Mortis, which is the Lake of Death,
Oh,
to
great.
another location. It's on, if you go to events.celestis.com/tranquility flight, the landing, it's a longer name, and it's up in the northwest part of the moon. But yes, that we do know, we have published it, and my lately increasingly feeble brain has not yet retained that.
Okay.
Am I missing updates if I'm not
Updates,
on
yeah.
Facebook? Uh, these events are always available on YouTube. We do have a pretty active Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter presence. If you are a family member, you're getting emails from us on dates. Or if you are a friend of the person that signed the contract, just tell the person that signed the contract to forward those updates to you. So I can't tell you for sure. We try to be everywhere. We also have a fairly large media presence. I just did an interview with Scripps, so there'll be a story coming out on that. But there are a variety of non-Facebook platforms where we communicate.
Okay. Let's see. People are thanking us for answering the question. Everyone else is. I don't you need okay. looks like we're covered. So I should take that.
I want to thank Glenda for the shout out on the Excelsior patch and pins.
Yes, I
Those
saw
are
that too. I
extremely
wanted to
well
get
made and beautiful. So thank you for
yes.
that.
I wish I could find it quick enough. Oh, here it is. She received the order of Excelsior's patch. If you guys haven't done that, just make sure you go to our store. If there's anything you see that you want, grab it.
Eileen, you're welcome for altering the schedule for late arrivals. We'll look forward to having you there. Joyce, the link to view Excelsior will be sent to you on email if you're on our email list for participants or people that are interested in the mission. Otherwise, you need to check events.celestis.com or celestis.com for the link. But again, know that it will be spacex.com. I just don't have the where they're routing this. This is called the Transporter 8 mission. Is that right, or 7? I'm sorry. We're on
8
both
sounds
of them.
familiar. I'm not sure myself. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Isn't that terrible?
Hey, Charles, can you go ahead? I'm sorry.
The embarrassment of having so many missions that
Yeah, yeah.
but it will be, but we will post it where I told you. If you're if you're receiving email updates from us today, that will come to you also, but it will also be on all of our social platforms and on the events.celestis.com website, or just call us or send us an
Right.
email. We have a not brand new, she's 3 weeks in, customer service relations specialist, and Faith is doing a great job, and she will be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Hey, Charles, can you here's a really cool one yet funny. Could you re-explain to us who've never heard it before the art and skill of watching a launch?
Yeah, the person that asks, do I bring my camera or do I bring my binoculars? The answer is bring nothing. Bring yourself. It's an awe-inspiring. We'll have all the photos that you'll ever want. We'll have video, which we provide to you. There's nothing more visceral than standing there, and particularly both Excelsior and Enterprise Tranquility are going to be night launches. That much we can say. And to watch the sky light up and watch this pencil of flame rising for, hopefully, again, depending on weather, but in an optimal viewing, that's all you need. That's what you're there for. You want to see it reaching the heavens, and you don't want to look at through some lens finder or some little binocular to do it. You want to do the stand there and revel in it.
Yeah, take it all in.
And the
don't
light will
ruin it.
get to you much sooner than the sound will, and it's a pretty interesting phenomenon. To the thing's nearly out of range, and all of a sudden the rumble of the sound hits you because of obviously the speed of light versus the speed of sound. All right, Patrick looked up Tranquility.
Yeah, I saw that myself.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce.
I'm not either. I might curse.
But thank you, Patrick. Gold star.
Yeah. Yeah, the domes. Let's just call it
the
dome.
Okay, so James, a patch is included in the price, not a pin, just to be picky here. But the all of that stuff will be available out at the Excelsior Flight, at every flight we do.
Right. Now that answers Kara's question as well, as in terms of will patches be at the event.
And every participant is included in every contract is a mission patch. So you'll have to fight your family members for it, or just get more. They're cool looking. A little bit. We had Eric Genak on. Was it last time, Mark? Time before last. Anyway,
Time before that.
recently, Eric Genak, our artist who designs all of our patches and pins, was on this update and learned a little bit about him. Interesting young man, very talented. Has been commissioned to do the Robert Heinlein graphic novel series and
Yeah.
has done flight patches for Space Shuttle and others. But yeah, we have cool patches, I think.
The patches, if none of you have seen, or most of you, they're credible patches that are done for these missions. The artwork alone, I mean, there's a story behind every piece of artwork. If you were here to see Eric's presentation, he kind of explained a little bit about, star locations, why they're there. There's some really, really cool patches that were created. I love this one, the fact that Spaceport America is in New Mexico, and you see there's a little Indian kind of accent to this patch. Native American, I should not say Indian, I should say Native American anyway. It's just gorgeous work, just absolutely gorgeous work. So collect them.
So apparently I gave the wrong info on Prospect Park. It may be Progress Park. Just look for a municipal park in Lompoc that starts with P. There's only one. That's it. Now,
there's Pizza Park. That must be
it. I know some people are going there. By the way, if you go there, take your flashlights, take anything you need to survive in the middle of the night out there. I'm not sure about restrooms. I'm sure they have some in the park. They may not be near where you view it from, but that's and that's word of mouth, passing that on from people that have told me that's where they're going to watch it from. So, as I say, Google parks in Lompoc, and I'm sure there's only one with P. If there's more than one, it's the one that's on a hill.
Alrighty. Looks like we have about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
So if anyone has anything they want to slide in real quick, do it.
I want to say what fun it is to be doing the juggling that we're doing. Our team is performing at the max. Oh, okay. Here comes another question.
Yeah, this is pretty good too.
All right. After the launch of Tranquility, what should we expect after the launch of Tranquility? So once it lands, don't know that I would go directly with NASA or Astrobotic coverage. I think they'll be the best people to continue on the mission. Basically only begins, our mission ends on landing. We're not going anywhere from then on, but the rover will be deployed. There'll be video, I'm sure, from the surface of the moon. We'll clearly be tracking it and be sharing it on all of our platforms so that you all can see it. But Astrobotic and NASA will be the best sources of post-landing coverage for Tranquility.
Great question here.
Don't know is the short answer. We're working on trying to do something that is enterprise related. We haven't got that nailed down yet. And yes, we will go to Mars. Of course.
I'm first.
And it'll be the Celestis Martian service at that point. So what's amazing is we've been doing this almost 30 years, and I think within the next 30 years, certainly we should be on our first non-lunar planetary body.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Even the current spacesuits look nothing like Apollo spacesuits or even Mercury spacesuits back then. So they've come a long way.
I want to close, Mark, with reminding everybody that about my T-shirt that says "Space is hard." There have been 6 launch attempts of new rockets, relatively new rockets, in the last 6 months. 4 of those didn't work. And that's kind of what makes our service so special, I think, is that it's not easy to do. And, um, but it's so worthwhile. So for all of you all who have sort of been doing the dance with us on launch dates and when we're going to fly, and that's yeah, it happens, and it's part of the buildup. But all of that stress and tension goes away um, when you're watching the liftoff, and to the extent the liftoff succeeds and the mission succeeds, uh, you can't get that feeling anywhere else on or off the planet right now. So I want to tip a hat to all of our partners, ULA, Up Aerospace, Spaceflight Industries, Omnitech, um, all of our team, all of our supporters, and all of our clients. We've made it up to our 19th mission, and we're scheduled through our 24th mission. There aren't a lot of other companies out there that have flown that many, and it, as I say, I periodically look up and go, yeah, it is hard, but it is very much worthwhile. So all of you all who are waiting for your loved one to take flight, know two things: we always fly them, and it is always worthwhile when we do. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Folks, this is our CEO, Mr. Charles Chafer here, and we really appreciate you guys joining us tonight. You will see the crew on location in Vandenberg.
Right. And pictures are available, James. Thanks for asking.
Are available, yeah. And we will let you guys know.
And we dress up well. I mean, we clean up nicely.
Okay. Suits with tennis shoes, yeah. Can't wait to meet all you guys.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing everybody at our launches.
That's perfect. So on behalf of myself and our boss here, Charles, we'll say good night to you, and we will be talking and, of course, seeing you pretty soon. So take care, guys, and good night.
Thank you.
In 2022, people from planet Earth will launch a spaceship bound to create a distant outpost of human civilization. A new island in deep space beyond Mars. Aboard the Enterprise flight will be biofiles, a complete genomic representation, DNA of crew members from around the world. Mind files, greetings and vital data from Earth's peoples. And memorial journeys, the precious remains of Star Trek's first family and others from all walks of life. Join the crew of the Enterprise flight yourself, or honor a life well lived with a memorial journey. Reservations are limited and may be secured through Celestis, the iconic global pioneer of memorial spaceflight.
This is the launch conductor in mission control. We pause at this moment in our countdown to remember and honor the lives of each of the participants on the Celestis Memorial Spaceflight. Their presence on this flight signifies a commitment to the opening of the space frontier shared by all of us. We wish the friends and families present today and all those who are with us in spirit all over the world Godspeed, good luck, and our thanks for allowing us to share this very personal time with you today. Elsie out. 5, vehicles armed, 3, 2, 1, fire.